Hello. Today I'm going to share with you the genius of networking and how it worked for me as a youth, as a teen, how it could work for any company, organization, or agency, and how it could work on any school campus. We're also going to talk about how networking is going to be in the new normal in a virtual hybrid environment, whether you're at a career fair or networking or socializing. And we're going to talk all about that today. When I was 8 years old, my mom put me in the car and I thought we were going to go to the park, play on the swings and do things like that. But little did I know I was actually going to try out for baseball that day. When we got to the park, it was busy, bustling. We got out of the car, she handed me a glove and signed me up for baseball. Now, I needed to try out with the other kids. When I got over to the first station of tryouts, I realized that I had never put on a baseball glove before. I didn't know what to do. So I started networking with the kids in line and asking them, how do I do this? How do I wear this glove? And some of the kids that were there quickly gave me a demonstration. And they told me, don't worry about it. Just put your glove down, the ball will roll into your glove and throw it to first base. When it was my turn, I listened and I did exactly what the other kids had told me, but unfortunately, I didn't put my hand on the other side of the glove. So the ball rolled up my glove and hit me in the face, split my lip open. Later on, I had to get stitches. The next station was the outfield. That wasn't any better. Now, my lip was still hurting and bleeding from the first thing that I had to do. So the second thing was catch a pop fly. And as I saw the ball go in the air and started to come to earth, I realized that this is something I didn't want to do, which was try to catch this because I thought it was going to hit me in the head. So I moved and the ball bounced in front of me. Laughter. And finally, they brought me inside and said, here's a bat, go up to home plate and hit the baseball. So the same gentleman that had hit the baseball to me and that split my lip open was now throwing a live baseball at me. I didn't want any part of that. So needless to say, I made a fool out of myself. Now, they took all the kids, put them in the outfield, and the coaches picked them one by one. I was the worst player that day, and I had reverse networking happen in effect when I got to school on Monday. Kids made fun of me. They poked fun at me, and it was like that the whole year. Second grade was probably the worst year of my life. I vowed that summer to learn how to play baseball. Now, my father had started his own business and was not in a position to practice with me after school. So a family moved in across the street, and I walked over there, even though I was scared, and I talked to the father and said, can you teach me how to play baseball? I'd explained to him what had happened the year before, and I told him I didn't want that to happen again. So him and his son, who was a couple of years older than me, practiced with me every day after school. And pretty soon I became really good at it. And when I tried out the next year, I was the very first pick. And that was my first introduction to networking. When I was 12 years old, my father introduced me to allowance and the beauty of washing a car. So he took me outside and he said, son, you're going to have to work for this, but I'm going to give you an allowance. But what I want you to do is wash my car, and it has to be perfect. If you make one mistake, you have to do the whole thing over. So it took me a while to perfect that, but it taught me something. It taught me to be a perfectionist. And pretty soon I became really good at washing his car. A year later, on Christmas Day, my father passed away. And I knew from my heart of hearts that if I wanted to continue to have food, clothing, and do the things that I wanted to do as a teenager, I was going to have to do something to make money. And washing cars seemed to be the smart thing to do since I was pretty good at it. So again, I had to put network into play. I had to once again take a deep breath and go door to door and talk to my neighbors and say, would you be willing to let me wash your car? Pretty soon, I had a little business going, and my name became the talk of the neighborhood. I started washing cars after school and on the weekends, and pretty soon I got to a place where I was able to actually hire some of my friends to help me with this. And that was my second introduction to networking. So now I'm a young adult, and networking is still a big part of my life. Something interesting happened when I started at this new career. I noticed that there was a lack of diversity and a lack of networking amongst the people that worked there. I noticed that the people that did certain things stuck together. But something magical happened a few years while I was working at this place. A memo came out from the director, and the memo basically stated this: regardless if you have purple hair, green hair, rainbow hair, if you have ear piercings, tattoos, I'm basically eliminating the dress code. Now, I'm not suggesting as a company or organization or agency that you do this. Bear with me, I'm coming to a point. But that started off something different. Again, when I would go into the cafeteria, I would see certain people that did certain jobs kind of stick together. And now that you had this culture shift, if you will, people started mingling amongst themselves a little. But then something magical happened. The coffee cart. Now, the coffee cart was placed outside between the hours of 2 p.m. and 5:30, outside in an area where everybody can congregate. And the beauty of that was people from all over, from different things that they did at this company, started talking with each other. And then on Fridays, which we called Happy Hour Friday, they would speak, they would talk, and what were you doing that weekend? Pretty soon when 5 o'clock hit, people started saying, what are you doing after work? Let's go to the local watering hole and continue our conversations. And then on Monday, during lunch, people would then say, hey, what did you do this weekend? And the next thing you knew, people from all over, from different jobs, from different categories, started communicating and talking with each other. It was a beautiful transition and it was a game changer. All of this was due to a coffee cart idea. Now let's talk about networking in a social environment. How many of you have a dozen business cards either in your briefcase, in your backpack, or even in your pocket or suit pocket? What do you do when you retrieve a business card from somebody? Let me share with you what I do. So let's use Christopher Gardner as an example. So Christopher is from Chicago. So some of the questions that I'm going to ask him, in addition to whatever it is that we're talking about in this social event, Chris, I see that you're from Chicago. Are you a Cubs fan or are you a White Sox fan? And once he responds with, oh, I watch the Cubs. Cubs are my team. And then the next question might be, because I know Chicago is a big jazz town, are you more John Coltrane or are you more Miles Davis? So what I'm trying to do is develop bridges that we can turn a formal conversation into an informal conversation. And that's my goal. So when I collect a business card from somebody, not only that, I am going to reach out to that person. Now I could quickly send a text message or an email to this person the moment that I walked away from them. But rather than do that, I'm going to ask the person, when is the best time to reach out to them? They might say in a week, they might say in 2 weeks, or they might say tomorrow. But I'm going to take their cue on when it's best to respond to them. And that is networking. The other thing I'm going to do is when I walk away from Chris, I'm going to turn that business card over and I'm going to make some bullet points, such as Chris is a Chicago Cubs fan. He loves Miles Davis and he plays the horn himself. He's a musician. So now when I send that email out to Chris and I talk to him, I might say, my Dodgers, who were from Los Angeles, they beat the Cubs last night. Did you catch the game? Or Miles Davis just came out with a new CD or a new DVD. Did you happen to catch that? Listen to that? And what did you think of that? So again, I'm trying to turn a formal conversation into something more informal. That is networking. And finally, let's talk about career fairs and best practices of networking in our new normal, which is a combination of virtual and in person. So let's talk virtual for a moment. LinkedIn. Now, people connect with me all the time on LinkedIn, and occasionally I'll have a student that actually took the time to Google me and give me some information about myself. That person already has an edge over everybody else because I know that that person took the time to get to know me. Now, if I was an aerospace major, I may type in top 10 aerospace engineers at NASA, and then I would get 10 names. Then I immediately would start scouring the internet to find papers, white papers, or other documents that they may have authored. And then I would read them. And then when I reach out to them on LinkedIn, I would say, I read your paper on XYZ. Would you be willing to have a 15-minute coffee Zoom with me to talk about this? Now, here's the important part. Once I'm having the Zoom conversation with them, I'm watching the time. I set 15 minutes and I want to make sure that I respect their time. So at the 14-minute mark, as soon as they take a breath, I might say we have about a minute left of our time. And hopefully they'll say, well, I've got a little bit more time to finish our conversation. And hopefully that will lead to further meetings. During that time, don't mention what your intentions are unless they ask you. Hopefully that will lead to a second conversation or a second Zoom meeting where you could then talk about your resume and talk about what your intentions are. And you never know, the person that you're reaching out to might be the one that can offer you an internship or an early career hire. That is how you could tackle virtual conversations and networking. Okay, the in-person career fair. When does that start? It starts the moment that you leave your steps of your house. You call Super Shuttle and they come to pick you up. You want to make sure that you're dressed accordingly. Leave your headphones at home. Now, you get into the Super Shuttle, start networking with the people that are there. They might be from a different school or they might be from a local aerospace company. That's when the networking starts. And start networking. Start asking questions. When you get to the airport, same drill. You're going to see people from all over headed to the same place that you are. Hey, are you going to the SHIP conference this year? Go ahead and ask. And if they say yes, ask them what they hope to discover at this career fair. What do they hope to find? And get their names. And you can connect via social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. But that's networking. Now, once you get to the place, the hotel that you're staying at, unpack, go downstairs. If you're getting coffee or tea at the local Starbucks, same rules apply. No headphones. You want to make sure that you're making yourself available, you're keeping your head on a swivel, and you're looking for networking opportunities. You might even run into me. I might be staying at the career or the conference hotel. And if I am, feel free to come up to me and ask me. Maybe you know me from past presentations or workshops. The other thing you want to do is scour the book that has the agenda of all the different things and all the different companies that are going to be there, and do a badge check. That's what I do. As I pass by somebody, I might look to see where they're from and just make conversation and ask them, what are you doing here? What are you looking for? And network. It's so important. And again, feel free to tell them about your social media, let them know what school you're from, what chapter you're representing, and you might make some friends as well. This is important because once you get to the career fair and as you're venturing around and looking for an internship, you might run into somebody that you met at the airport. And they might say, hey, you told me you were an aerospace engineer? This company over here is looking for aerospace engineers and they're giving out internships. That is the power of networking. I hope today that you learned a lot. I look forward to meeting you at our next networking event. Thank you.